Hey everyone, today we're going to do a deep dive into a real-world case study. Seriously, it's about how one content creator used a specific AI tool to get a mind-blowing leap in their output and just completely change the game for their workflow. But let me just start with a question for you. What would you do if you suddenly had an extra 140 hours every single month? I mean, that's like getting more than 3 full work weeks of your life back. It sounds kind of impossible, right? But that's the scale of the time savings we're talking about here. This isn't just about working a little bit faster. It's about totally rewriting the rules of content creation. So, to really get why this is such a big deal, we have to talk about something every creator knows all too well, the content treadmill. You know, that constant grinding pressure to be publishing high-quality stuff all the time, just to stay on the radar. It's this constant battle, isn't it? On one side, you've got your big goal. Put out great videos, podcasts, articles, and do it consistently. But on the other side, there's the cold, hard reality. You only have so many hours in a day. The old way of doing things forces you to choose between quality, quantity, and let's be honest, your own sanity. So just how much time are we talking? Well, think about this. 25 to 30 hours. That's how long it can take to take one single piece of source material and turn it into a video, a podcast, and an article. That's almost a full work week for just one content batch. For most of us, it's not sustainable. Okay, so this is where our case study with Quantora Analytics University kicks in. They decided to lean on an AI tool called NotebookLM. But here's the really crucial part. Not all AI tools are made the same, especially when your reputation depends on being factually correct. The key to their whole success started with picking a tool that was built for reliability. And the secret sauce behind this is a technology called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. Now, what's so cool about this is instead of the AI just kind of making stuff up from all the general information it was trained on, a RAG system bases its answers specifically on the documents that you give it. This one thing massively cuts down the risk of the AI making factual errors, what we all call hallucinations. And just look at the difference here. A 2024 study that looked at these kinds of document-based questions found that NotebookLM had a hallucination rate of only 13%. Other big-name models, they came in at 40%. That's a 3-to-1 advantage in just being reliable. For any kind of educational or fact-based content, that's an absolute game changer. All right, so they've got this more reliable tool. What was the actual impact on their productivity? Let's get to the after picture, because this is where things start to get pretty wild. Just take a look at this side by side. Remember that 25 to 30-hour workflow we talked about? With this new AI-assisted process, it just collapses down to a little over 2 hours. And that's for the exact same output, a video, a podcast, and an article. The time you'd normally sink into research, scripting, and editing, it's almost gone, replaced by this super streamlined process of just uploading your sources and letting the AI generate the assets. So the bottom line here, a 90% drop in production time. Just let that sink in for a second. For every 10 hours you used to spend creating content, you'd now spend just 1. This isn't just a small improvement, it's a completely different way of working. And the savings aren't just in your time, they're in your wallet too. A standard 10-minute video, that could easily cost you thousands of dollars to produce with freelancers. But with an AI-powered software stack like the one Quantora used, which costs about $40 a month, the cost per video plummets to around $10. The scale of that cost reduction is it's incredible. And then, when you actually factor in the value of all that time you get back, the potential return on your investment is a staggering 27,500% in the first year alone. I mean, it's a number that's so big, it almost doesn't feel real. But here's where it gets even better. This newfound efficiency, it's not just about saving time so you can relax. It's about taking that time and reinvesting it into the single most important thing for growing an audience on platforms like YouTube: how often you upload. You see, it creates this really simple but powerful cycle. Faster production means you can create more content, which means more uploads. And you know what the algorithms love? Consistent, frequent uploads. It's what they're built to reward, and it leads directly to faster growth for your channel. And look, we've got hard data to back this up. A huge study in 2025 by vidIQ found that channels that publish 12 or more times a month see 66% faster subscriber growth. By using a workflow like this, creators can actually hit that high-frequency target that, for most people, felt completely out of reach before. Now, at this point, it would be really easy to think this whole thing is just some kind of magic button you press. But the case study is very clear on this. This powerful tool only works if you pair it with a disciplined human in-the-loop process. You have to trust, but you always, always have to verify. Which, of course, brings us to the question that's probably floating around in your head right now. Is this whole thing just too good to be true? And you know what? That's a healthy dose of skepticism, and it's exactly the right question to be asking. Let's look at that risk again. An 87% accuracy rate is awesome, but it's not 100%. That 13% risk of an error, even though it's small, is still significant. Think about it. If you're a financial analyst and you get a key interest rate or a date wrong, your credibility is toast. The risk is absolutely real, but the good news is it's manageable. This right here is the philosophy that makes the entire system work. Quantora's team is, and I'm quoting them, intransigent on factual accuracy. That means they are totally uncompromising. That mindset is the bedrock. It's completely non-negotiable. So how do they actually manage that risk? Well, it's a pretty simple three-step strategy. First, they only use their own explicit version-controlled source documents. Second, they use very structured prompts that basically order the AI to only use the sources provided. And third, and this is the big one, a human being does a 100% fact check on all the key data points before anything, and I mean anything, gets published. So that's the trade-off. You invest just a couple of hours a month doing some rigorous fact-checking, and in return, you save over 140 hours of grinding production work. It's not a burden, it's an incredibly smart investment that protects your credibility while unlocking this massive efficiency. So the big takeaway from this case study really comes down to this. AI is a massive force multiplier, there's no doubt about it. But human expertise is still the irreplaceable gatekeeper of quality. You need both to make it work. And all of this leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. As these tools get better and more common, is the very role of a creator starting to shift? Are we moving away from being hands-on producers and becoming something more like expert curators and verifiers, where our main job is to guide these incredibly powerful AI systems and just ensure the absolute quality of what comes out at the end? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.